We'd like to welcome everyone to RootsTech 2023. Thank you for coming. So, normally when we do a session, I like to do a little Q&A afterwards, take some questions, but because we're in the main hall here, we're going to go and defer that later into the expo hall. And so I'll be at the booth there throughout the day, off and on. And we'd invite you to bring your questions there, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in just a few minutes. I remind you, please silence all your electronic devices. No audio or video recording. You can take photos. I don't know why you'd want to take any photos, but if you do, welcome to it. So the question is, where is Ron? Right? Where's Ron? For years, Ron has been the person that has sort of been the MC, if you will, of FamilySearch.org, and it has taken this. And, Ron unfortunately had a little bit of a health incident a few weeks ago and won't be able to attend. He's back at work, but he's not at RootsTech this year, so we wish him well. And he's saddened, but he'll miss everybody here. So that's what's going on with Ron. So, who's Craig? I've worked with FamilySearch for over 20 years, director of engineering and design over all the products. I'm not as good as Ron. I hire smart people. That's the only reason I'm here, is to hire really good people. But nevertheless, my turn this year. I've spent my career helping people and building products for everyone. Sometimes they meet their needs, a few times they didn't. I've had some spectacular failures and some pretty good success. It's been a learning experience. One of the things that I do as a product manager, as an engineer, is we watch people and we ask, why are they doing that? The whole thing is to go and figure out what their needs are, and most people behave trying to fill a need. If we can find the need that people have, then we can design something that meets that need. Our goal here at FamilySearch is to meet your needs. Sometimes they're easy to see. Sometimes they are hidden, deep, unstated, not even known to the person who has them sometimes. As I said, our whole goal is to help you fill the need, and we start by trying to find what your needs are. The next thing we do is we try to design a solution. We test that out. Hopefully, over several iterations, we can go and fill the need that you have with respect to family history. Again, our whole goal is to help you to be able to do family history, help unify and unite your family, connect to others. Please help us help you. And I'm going to share with you a little bit how we build software so that you can help us. With that in mind, I would ask you, what are the two most important things on this screen as far as feature goes? If you guess the toggle button, you'd be right. The other one is the feedback button. The toggle button allows us to be able to go and test with you the features. Does it meet your need? We do this on substantial releases or substantial pieces of functionality. And that feedback button is how you tell us how we're doing and communicate with it. One word of caution, please be kind when you give the feedback. Here's how our development process works. After we think we've gotten your needs, we design, like I said, and then we release as soon as we have a minimal working version of the features. we release early under that little toggle thing and some other methods that we have. Sometimes we only release it to 10 people at a time. Sometimes it's hundreds or thousands. As you try it out, as I said, give us that feedback for improvement and help us make the changes that you need. We try to engage users in this process. We, as I mentioned, listen to the feedback with a K missing. We ask questions. We update and iterate quickly. On one of our releases, I guess it was the new person page. When we released it to a beta, a few people, we had over 165 discussions in our feedback system that we were tracking, and we made change to 45 things. Then we iterated, we released again. This time, with a little bit more people, we had 215 strings of discussions going simultaneously, and it helped us change over 80 work items. For us, that feedback system is a gold mine, especially to you. Posts are often well thought out, with good descriptions and screenshots. Some patrons go so far as to mock up what they'd like us to build, and we appreciate that. Others in the community chime in and help us flesh out an idea or duplicate an issue. So again, please press that feedback button. Don't hesitate and help us do a better job. One of the things that we have observed over and over again is that people are always trying to connect to each other. We do it all the time, even with total strangers. Where are you from? Where are you going? What do you do? These are common questions. I get asked this and asked in airplanes all the time. And it's all an attempt to connect. And usually, it doesn't take very long. And when we connect, it's usually in the form of a story. That need to connect is really, really important. And so I asked the question as a product manager, why the need? Why the need to connect? Where does it come from? I've come to believe that there is a deep, unstated need to share our love with each other. And so we reach out. We try to connect through common places, common experiences, common people. And we find a way to share that with others in subtle ways. That's why we're here. That's why we're here at RootsTech, to be able to help us unite, connect, share our love. So who is Craig? How do we connect? Okay. I'm going to tell you a little bit about me briefly. We'll see how fast we can connect. You don't need to raise your hands or anything, but I'm just going to tell you a little bit about me, and let's see how we connect. My great-grandfather immigrated from Scotland to the plains of Alberta, Canada, to a little town called Taber. I was born in Taber. I've lived in a few different places in Canada: Saskatchewan, Calgary, Lethbridge. Later, my family moved to Utah. I've lived in Provo, Salt Lake, Bountiful, Kaysville, Sandy, Highland, and Alpine. I've lived in New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Delaware. I moved 18 times before I got out of high school. There's a story behind each move, by the way. I grew up working on farms, ranches, construction, and a myriad of other jobs. I'm an electrical engineer by profession. Worked for the Air Force building weapon systems. I love to be outside with my family. I love to snowmobile. I love all this snow. I know a lot of people don't, but I do. I enjoy camping, hunting, fishing. I love the great outdoors, especially with my family. I love hearing family stories. I love it when the family gathers and we connect and reconnect over and over again. I have found personally great strength in connecting and hearing the family story. By the way, if we go back far enough, we're all cousins, and I live here on planet Earth. Hopefully somewhere in there we connected. And that's why we're here. The conference is all about connecting and uniting, especially family, past, present, future. Everything FamilySearch does is about uniting families. So you're going to hear a theme in my presentation today, in the features that we talk about, and in the conference as a whole about uniting and connecting and stories. That's over and over again. Everything we do is trying to build that. So we've added many things in this past year. So I invite you to put on your seatbelt, buckle up, and here we go. So, relatives at RootsTech, we're trying to unite everyone here and online with relatives at RootsTech. Leveraging the tree, we were able to try to hook you up with everybody else in some way, shape, or form. On the app, top of the bar, if you haven't, FamilySearch's Family Tree app, right at the top, there's a little blue button that we've added for RootsTech. Click on that. You can go, and if your tree is entered, you have a much higher chance of finding somebody if your tree's in there, because that's how it works. Go and click on that, and you'll find that you can, how many times or people that you're connected to. Thousands of people here and online. This is what it looks like at the web. If you want to just go there quickly, FamilySearch.org/connect, get right to it. There's a little toggle here, another toggle. This one allows you to see only the people that are here at the conference in Salt Lake. Click it the other way, you get the conference and everybody else that's online. So back and forth. That's very interesting. We've added a bunch of features here. Another one is by family line. If you click on the by family line filter, what it does is it shows all the family people who are from a single line. So for instance, Albert Powell has 1,600 descendants either here or online, and you can flip the toggle back and forth and find it. So have a mini family reunion while you're here. We invite you to do that. In an effort to help people connect internationally, we've added 7 more languages for a total of 38, and we have 7 more coming in 2023. So you can see that if you go to the website, you can click on the little on the little language picker, and you can see more of that. So how are we doing with uniting people? 1.47 billion people in the family tree. 12 million added every month. 2.6 billion total sources supporting those conclusions. 44 million sources added every month. Largest single tree that many of us here are in. Over 700 million people. I want you to think about that. We are connected. How are we doing with historical records? 83 million total memories. 8.9 billion searchable names. 4.6 billion images. Last year, FamilySearch in 2022 published 1 billion new images. I want you to just conceive of that just from a billion new record images. New county collection or country collections, Democratic Republic of Congo, Dominican Republic, etc., all over the world. Expanding collections in these countries. 1950 census. So thanks to the help of about 200,000 volunteers, maybe you were one of them, we were able to review 264 million reviews of the information, the data there. It's the first time this has ever been done. Have a computer generate the index, and then have the volunteers go and curate it for a census. Amazing. But perhaps you are one of them. If you are, please give you a hand. Thank you. These records are used by millions of people today on FamilySearch and on Ancestry. This one's a little bit different. For us, we've taken the 1950 census and we've added the ability for just not to get the facts and the data, but it's now able to tell the story of your ancestors who were living during that time so you can better unite with them, feel a connection to them. So here's a little bit of an example. The quick way to get there, FamilySearch.org/1950 census. Quickly. Put in James Johnson, a little bit where he's from, and we get this facts and figures. But this is where it gets interesting. So we've taken that information and transformed that census data to create stories that illuminate the experiences of those who lived in the 1950s, such as their military service, what they were dealing with, the significant historical issues in their lives. You can see here that James Johnson served in World War II. He was about 21 years old. These stories, when compiled together, create a more complete view of who James is from the information that's been gleaned from the census, transforming that record into a set of stories that create the story of his life, a profile that's easy for anybody to see and understand. But that's not all. Once you identify a family member in the census, you can also claim your relationship to him. And once you've claimed someone as an ancestor, you can perform other actions to celebrate your connection to your family member. This page has several activities on it. I'm going to just talk about two. The first one is an invitation on the page to share this story, your discovery, on social media. Anyone who sees your social post can follow that link to your family member and see the story. The second one is to be able to go and add James to the tree, and you can do it in a couple of different ways. You can add him directly. You can add the record into the tree and see all the other people that are in that census record that were in his family and add them too. The 1950 census is now so easy for anyone to enjoy, and like I said, we've transferred that collection into a set of stories that are there available. That's been released within the last couple of days. Another thing we've done is we've added African oral genealogies. So over the last number of years, we have conducted over 1 million interviews of tribal historians in 18 African countries. 1 million interviews, right? That's not all. Volunteers have been reconstructing those African genealogies into trees, and then they've taken them and we've put them on FamilySearch.org. They are under the genealogies series. So if under search, you click up at the top, there's a little search tab, click search, underneath search is genealogies, and you'll be able to see these oral genealogies. There are 189 million of them there, searchable names. We also, in that same area of the genealogies, have also recently published some computer-generated trees where we've taken really, really good records. We've combined them together, compiled the data, sifted and sorted, and we've been able to glean out of that some trees that are pretty solid. We invite you to take a look at that. Hints, let's talk about hints just for a little bit. 530 million new hints last year for a total of 2.5 billion hints right now that are available to be claimed. Take a look at those. Attach them to the people in the tree. Now, here's the secret sauce. On average, across all of FamilySearch and all the hints, 1 out of every 10 hints adds somebody to the tree. I think about that. So, what is that? 2.5 billion, so carry the 1, move zeros around, 10% of that, 250 million, right off the top. New people can be added by taking a look at those hints. Okay, let's talk a little bit about new features. So what are the features that I should talk about? Here's a list, this is a real list, of all the things that we've done to the website over the past year. Now, and I didn't expect an applause over that. I thought I was going to get lots of boos, but anyway, whatever. The interesting thing that most of the things on this page, you and I will never see. This is all the back-end information. It's the thousands of things it takes to track from the very beginning of a record coming into the system, including the contracts, the images that are recorded by volunteers holding digital cameras, to ingestion into the system, into the storage systems, into the preservation systems that we have, to cataloging them, indexing it by volunteers, by computer, by commercial keyers, pushing it through the system onto the search site, modifying search to be able to handle the new record types, and then being able to publish. It's storing a family tree and finding the relationships through relatives at RootsTech, for instance, for millions of people simultaneously online at a conference such as this. It's the software that builds RootsTech.org that allows a huge number of training and classes to be shown over and over again to help people. It's that sourcing and hinting system that I talked about that allows us to publish 44 million sources hooked to people. So this is the best representation I have of unseen work. I thought, well, maybe I could show a computer and another computer and about 3,000 computers that do all this. But I leave this with you and a hand to the many, many people who work at FamilySearch to be able to bring this connection experience, this uniting experience to your family. Now, on FamilySearch, we have a lot of different countries, a lot of internationally speaking. Not all the logged in home pages look the same. Here's one for Korea. Another Asian one. This is Cambodian, etc. So we have lots of different things that we view that are specific to an area. So if you go to some other place and you log into FamilySearch.org and it doesn't look like what you're used to, this is why. I get the question all the time, Craig, why are you releasing a new person page? And the answer, once again, is to help you better find and discover your family story. So for instance, here's the toggle, right? Click that toggle for the new experience. And we've added a new About page. The new About page is full of discoveries. Discover the story of your ancestor's life, photos, memories, a timeline, relationships, a brief life history that shows the life of a person at a glance. The brief life history is auto computer generated from the life events in the details page. So you slip over to the tab over to just next to it, and you can see the event life pages, and you can edit that and change the story. Another thing we've added is the concept of another relationship. Now, these are relationships that aren't necessarily biological. They're relationships of people that you might have had, such as I was an apprentice. Here's the list. I was employed, apprenticed, enslavement, godparents, in the household, I was a neighbor, a relative, etc. And so I'll show you how we use this a little bit. Pick an apprentice, and we tie those people together. Who was the master? Who was the apprentice? I'm going to add the person by number, and voila, we have an apprentice-master relationship. It's found in the records. We can remove or replace it. You can add a reason statement, add an event, add a source to it, etc. Tell a little bit of story about why you put it in. You can see all the changes, delete the relationship if you're not satisfied with it, etc. Another area we've changed is we've added a huge requested feature, and that is the ability to filter and sort on your memories. The most positive feedback we've received is to be able to sort by date, and that is all available right now on FamilySearch. We've added the ability to do source taggings for all the collections. So what this means is that you can go and put a tag an event with all the sources that are lined up to help you be able to draw that conclusion. In this example, I've added an alternative name, and the system allowed me to select the sources to tag to that conclusion. Another one you can do is you can change the layout to your own preferences. This is another thing that came from feedback. Some people wanted a layout with two screens, or two columns, sorry. Another one was a single column. Choice is yours, along with the layout of the page and the order you want to have it in. The controls on the right-hand side, you can see double, single, vitals, family members, other information. You can turn them on or off and put on whatever you'd like on the screen. We've added tools to print. So the cool thing about this is you can customize what you print. You can go and take the personal details, the pedigree, select what you want, hit the print button, and it's all custom built now. Here's a little bit of the details that you can do. You can show it this way. New page has been added to customize what sections get printed. Spouses and children, parents, etc. Just a little bit about that. We have a sources slide sheet. This gives an option to have to view the detail and add sources to anything, any information on your screen, which is really, really handy. In this case, for George, he had 56 sources. There's another important feature we've added, alert notes. And it's to help people be more careful as they work together and collaborating on the family tree. We can create an alert at the top of the page to encourage users to read the note before making changes. Because some people, using genealogy from the past that wasn't too well documented or correct, tries to get merged into things that are correct. So it pops up with this little important notice. Please read the alert notes before making changes. Another one, caution for merging, so that when people go to merge something that's a little bit questionable, that merge note will come up and tell us, hey, be careful here. Be careful. Did I say that again? Be careful when we merge. One more time, caution for merging. Okay, view ancestors. In the Asia area, specifically in Korea and China, they have, over the centuries, built their own genealogy as they go. There is a person who is a keeper of the record, so to speak, and when you had an event in your life, like a birth, you'd get in touch with this person and they would add you to the genealogies. In China, they're called a jiapu, and in Korea, they're called a chokbo. I apologize if I didn't say that correctly. So when you go, if you're from that area of the world and you decide, hey, I want to enter in my genealogy, you start with the most honored ancestor. When I first learned this many, many years ago, I was watching someone from Asia try to use our system. And instead of putting himself in the first position in the tree, like you do in a Western pedigree, he put his great ancestor in, his most honored ancestor in that thing. And then it was a meltdown from that point on. Because all of a sudden there was only two places for him to enter information. So what we've done is we've added what we call the first ancestor view. And as I say, it takes the normal pedigree and it flips it upside down. So you go there by going to the pedigree view pull down, and you select the first ancestor box at the bottom there. And then what it does is it takes you on a little bit of a journey. So add your first ancestor. So in Korea, this is really easy. You open up your chokbo, you go to the first page, and there's your most honored ancestor, and you put him in, and then you start to build the tree down. It's mostly patrilineal based, follows the male side of the line, but allows for other things. But in this case, I'm going to show you how I use it with a Western pedigree. So I crawled up to the top of my Miller line, all the way to the top until we couldn't find any more information, and I put him in. By the way, I click on that Add First Ancestor box, and then it gives me a little explanation of what's going on. It may default to an Asian language because that's where it's mostly used. You can just pull that down and put in English. I added my first ancestor. I put in his number, so I didn't have to search for him. I just put his number in there. I use the name of John Powell because I stole some of these slides from Todd Powell. You'll see his presentation on Saturday, I believe. So I used his name, put in John Powell of his most honored ancestor. And it asked me, comes up and it asked me to verify and check and make sure that that has been successfully done. I'm told it has been added. Click on it, and then it automatically filled in my pedigree from the top down. And then as you can see in the pedigree, very slightly over here, you can see that line as how you descend from your most honored ancestor. System tells me also that I'm 11th generation from John Powell, and again shows me that descendancy path. Another thing that we've added is to be able to use search and use the field of race. In many records, like the census, it has a race indicator. We've taken those exact fields, and added them to the filter section of FamilySearch. Again, we've entered the exact statement of what it is. So here's an example of what that looks like. I borrowed this from Ron Tanner's slides. So put in Ron Tanner as the name, the last name I search. Then go up and click on the race button, and this pop-up comes up, and I can select the races that I want to search through. In this case, I'll search for everybody that's white. Last name is Tanner. Hit apply. Creates a filter and produces all the results. So being able to search by race can increase the ability to find your ancestors. Okay, now a sneak peek of the future. Okay. For many years, the model for FamilySearch in the tree has been to separate the deceased from the living. All the deceased are publicly seen. Everybody can see that. Everybody can change it. But the people who are living, if I enter in my children, for instance, only I can see them. And this is a problem. Because currently my brother is unable to see me, and I can't see my brother. Not only that, I can't see my brother's children, and we so would like to be able to see each other. Right now, if there's a birth in the family, every one of my siblings puts in that living birth into their private area of their tree over and over again. And so it creates a real issue of not being able to go and connect really easily. So one of the most requested features is to be able to share those living trees with those in our family. We've had the family group functionality for about a year and a half now, which allows you to message, share memories to those in your family group, share ordinances. So later on this year, we'll be releasing the next phase of family groups, and that is to be able to share the living information. No longer when somebody is born into the family will everybody have to add that person into their own private area of their tree. With shared family trees, it's going to be, you're going to only need to enter it one time if they're in the family group. It not only doesn't just stop with that, but in the future, it goes with memories, with photos, with stories, to be able to build a collaborative space for us to work together, not just work together, but to be able to go and collaborate with those that we love. Right now, my family does this on Instagram and Facebook, which can be pretty toxic for children, especially. We'd like to change that. And so we're going to be moving in this area to be able to go and fully collaborate about what's going on with our families in this family space. So really quickly, I'm going to walk through, again, a little bit of a journey that you go on to create a family group and then to be able to create a tree. So the first thing is, under where your name is, click down where those controls are and click on Family Groups. First thing that comes up is Family Group, create the group. If there's other groups that you've already created, they'll be there also. So we create the group. So I created a group for all of us to be in because we're all family. It's the RootsTech 2023 class group. It's everybody in the room. Little note, we've added the new addition, be considerate and communicate kindly as we work together in the room. And the next thing we do is we ask you to give us the permission to do this. That's the legal part. Then we go and click on the create group. So you see it's been created. I can view the group as the administrator who just created it by clicking there. And you'll see that we have all sorts of controls for the administrator to be able to go and help people. You can assign other administrators. You can invite other people through email, by sending a link to them, by sending a text. Once you have that link, you're good to go. So I'm not going to walk through how you invite people because all it is get the link, send it to who you want to invite. Has a little bit of a statement about what the group rules are, et cetera, et cetera. So let's go and create or flip to the other view and see, well, what do people see? What does it look like from the user point of view? From the tree view, a new control will be added that's off to the left there that shows you what tree you're looking at, okay? If you click down on that, if you drag down on that control, it will show you the various trees that are available for you or that you're a member of. I created one with Todd and I, my cousin, the RootsTech one that we just created, and the last one is my tree that I've been looking, my own private tree that I've been looking at for years. So what that implies is that my private tree that I have on in my view, my standard view that you all see when you're using the system, doesn't go away. It stays there. Use it or not. What it does is it takes information that you want to share from your tree, your private space, and takes it and moves it over into this new shared family tree. So here's the one we just created. If you click on, by the way, if you go from the RootsTech tree and you say, okay, I'm going to click on that, this is how you go and add data to it. You can copy just yourself. So pretend for an instant, the reason why we have just yourself, pretend for an instance that my brother already created a tree. I don't want to repopulate that and put duplicates in this new shared family tree. I just want to add myself. Another option is to copy select people. I don't have to put everybody in there. Copy select. Or if I do want to copy all my private people that I've had, I can do that and press that button. So 3 options, choose your option and hit return. So in this case, I copied all the people, all my private people into the tree. And here's what it's done. It's taken the people who were in my old tree, my standard tree, I shouldn't say old, but in my standard private tree, and it's taken a copy of each one of those people and put over there into the new area, which is the shared tree, so that me and you, my brother, can see the thing. So that's just a little bit about how this is actually going to work. The people who were once only viewable by me now have been copied, and I've shared that information. They can edit it, invite the people you want more, grow the tree, people being in there. It's a good thing. And again, it will have no effect on what you have in your own private space, just a copy. As you see, we have touched on just a few things that we are trying to help you with in doing your family history, to be able to connect and unite. I invite you again to stop by the booth in the expo hall and talk to the designers, the engineers, the testers. They're there to be able to go and hear your feedback. Help us understand what your needs are. And we can do a much better job trying to connect with that, with you, helping you connect to your family, understand your needs, change the website, improve it, et cetera, et cetera. We're anxious to hear your needs. So with that, I thank you again for coming. Have a great RootsTech. Have a great day.